Hi, this is Mike and Jen with the Watchman News. We're having a 72-hour flash sale in order to help fund our power bill and our internet. Without that, of course, we can't continue operations. We're not asking for donations. We're asking to work for you. If you do want to give us a donation, you can go to paypal.me/The Watchman News. There'll be a link down in the description. Otherwise, we, as you guys know, we sell cups, we sell e-juice, we sell decals. We can do custom cups, we can do custom decals. The cups are $13.99, shipping included, and the juice is $9.99. Shipping's not included in that, but you only pay one time for shipping no matter how many bottles you buy. So we can do custom stuff. Here's a cup I designed. I know that the handle's broke. We do our practice on broken cups. That's a cup I designed with Leonardo, the super dog. And let's see here. We got this one I never did put on the site, but it's a cup that I had originally designed for the site. This is the one that you see featured on the home page right now. The We Ain't Done, Keep Sharing. They come in a custom triangle box for safe shipping. And the decals, however, these don't have the masking on it. The masking is right here. If I put the masking on it, you wouldn't be able to see the decal. However, before you would receive a decal, it would get the masking on it. Okay, so here's the deal. We cut our own decals, so we sublimate our own cups. So this is, we do all this right here at home, and we'll be happy to do custom work. Just email me at orders@thewatchmannews.com, orders@thewatchmannews.com. I'll have that email down in the description. What you see in front of you is our giveaway prizes, but we got to be able to make sure we have our power, our internet, and be able to pay for the shipping to ship these out. But here's the first place right here, here's the second place right here, and the decal is the third place right here. So let us know what we can do for you. Thank you.
It is September 30th, 2016. This is the Watchman News, and I'm Mike Callahan. So we have another installment of the latest war updates. The time here is 11:48 a.m. Central Daylight Time, and this is the updates so far. I'll leave, by the way, I'll leave all the links down in the description. About halfway down in the description, you'll see report links. They will all be down there. I will read a paragraph or two, get the essential information out, and if you'd like to read the rest, you'll have the link. So first off, a couple of Facebook posts. There's really no link to it. Number one, India will deploy Rafale jets carrying nukes against China, Pakistan, Chinese media reporting. And the number two, Reuters, Netherlands government summons Russia's ambassador to explain criticism of MH17 investigation. And just like I said, right before it started happening, I knew that was going to come back up, and I even called that one before it happened. Alright, so first up, first link. This is from the Independent Barents Observer. Russia moves missiles to Finnish border. Finland's defense minister says that there is nothing unusual about the move except the way it was reported. Russian news agency Interfax reported on Thursday that two S-400 anti-aircraft missile systems have been moved towards the Finnish border. Defense Minister Jussi, I can't pronounce that, told YLE that there is nothing strange about the move. Russia has earlier indicated that it is placing, for example, these S-400 anti-aircraft missiles in the Kola Peninsula, and it has earlier said it placed these missiles in Crimea, and the name of that city again, I'm not sure how they'd pronounce that. This is normal practice. Russia is using these systems to replace the older S-300 rockets. Surprisingly, reported the Finland's defense minister. So again, I'll leave the link if you want to read more into that. Keep an eye on what's going on. I know they claim to be working on the S-500 system. Personally, I think they probably already have plenty of them built, ready to go, so who knows. Alright, next up, this is News World India. Punjab on maximum alert to evacuate 1,000 villages. Punjab was on maximum alert as the authorities today launched an exercise to evacuate those residing in villages near the international border in view of the escalating tension between India and Pakistan, with Chief Minister Prakash Singh Badal saying that they will ensure minimum inconvenience to people. I have directed the officials that villagers should face minimum inconvenience in the process of evacuation, Badal said here this evening after chairing an emergency meeting of his cabinet in the wake of Indian Army's surgical strikes on terror launch pads across the LOC. He said all schools situated within a distance of 10 kilometers from the border have been closed till further orders. I have asked my MLAs to help people in the evacuation process from villages, he said. He directed Chief Secretary Sarvesh Kashul to immediately release Rs-1, I'm not quite sure what that is, Rs-1 Corps each of the Deputy Commissioner. Wow, what is that? I have no idea what that's supposed to be. Commissioners of 6 border districts as preliminary expenditure. Asking people not to panic, Badal told reporters all preventative arrangements have been made in the border areas. So there you go. Again, link will be down in the description if you want to read more. BBC reporting U.S. invests $50 million in Niger drone base for counterterrorism. The U.S. already has a presence in the capital, Niamey, where it shares an air base with France's anti-Islamist force, Operation Barkhane. MQ-9 Reaper drones are stationed there. But the new facility in the central city of Agadez will give Washington greater ability to use drones against Islamic extremists in neighboring countries like Libya, Mali, and Nigeria. A spokeswoman for the Pentagon, Michelle Baldanza, confirmed that the U.S. had agreed to pay for a new runway and associated pavements, facilities, and infrastructure. She estimated the cost at $50 million, but The Intercept, which first reported the story, said it's projected to cost twice that. No, when has our government ever spent more money than when they initially said they were going to spend? Let's see. The investigative news site reports that it has obtained files that show the project is considered the most important U.S. military construction effort in Africa and will be completed in 2017. Drones, also known as UAVs, or RPAs, are used by the military for surveillance and to drop bombs in places where it's too risky or difficult to send a pilot. So, that's pretty much the whole report on that. Wall Street Journal reporting that U.S. signed secret document to lift UN sanctions on Iranian banks. The Obama administration agreed to back the lifting of the United Nations sanctions on 2 Iranian state banks blacklisted for financing Iran's ballistic missile program on the same day in January that Tehran released 4 American citizens from prison, according to U.S. officials and congressional staff briefed on the deliberations. The UN sanctions on the 2 banks weren't initially to be lifted until 2023 under a landmark nuclear agreement between Iran and world powers that went into effect on January 16. The UN Security Council's delisting of the 2 banks, Bank Sepah and Bank Sepah International, was part of a package of tightly scripted agreements. The others were in a controversial prisoner swap and a transfer of $1.7 billion in cash to Iran that were finalized between the U.S. and Iran on January 17, the day the Americans were freed. I'll leave the link to this down in the description, but I'll tell you what, that's a stark difference between how this administration deals with it and how Reagan dealt with it, I would think. And I'm not all pro-Reagan or anything like that. I don't want people to think that. But I thought we had pretty much a stance in this country to where we didn't negotiate with terrorists, and it seems now we kind of do everything they want, and maybe even give them some fringe benefits. Why not? All right, here is a video. Press TV News is reporting of a UN drone strike that killed 15 civilians. Oops. Give me one quick second here. Sorry about that. I forgot I had a video in here.
The United Nations has called for an investigation into the deadly drone strike by the U.S. that hit Afghanistan's eastern province of Nangarhar on Wednesday. The UN assistance mission in Afghanistan said the airstrike left 15 civilians dead and another 13 injured. It said the attack was carried out by an international drone without directly mentioning the U.S. The air raids targeted a family gathering in the Achin district of the province. The U.S. says it has conducted a drone strike at the time in the region, but it claims the attack has hit ISIL terrorists. U.S. drone attacks are not authorized by the UN, and facts on the ground show that civilians are the main victims of the aerial assaults.
Alrighty, and it's sad, and it keeps going on and keeps going and going, and now they're wanting to build even another airport there, or at least build up another airport there for more drones. Well, that is in Africa. But however, that this is insane. This is absolutely insane. We are not the world's police. We're just not. And we're going to be the ones, by the way, and when I say we, I mean the citizens, me and you. We're going to be the ones to pay for all this, not only financially, but in blood. Because it's not going to stay over there. You can't keep killing innocent people in other countries and not expect a backlash in your own. You can't. And I just think it's one of those things to where they just need to back out of it and stop. I mean, the whole premise of why we went to Middle East to begin with was on lies. So I don't see the productivity in continuing the lie and continuing to make people hate us. They don't hate us for our freedoms, they hate us for our bombs. Anyway, just my thoughts there. South Front reporting, U.S. warns Moscow from further operation in Syria. More Russian aircraft will be shot down. Spokesman for the U.S. Department of State John Kirby said that Moscow would continue to send troops home in body bags and will continue to lose resources if it does not stop the violence in Syria. According to him, in the case of a continuation of the conflict, extremists may exploit the situation to attack Russian cities. In addition, more Russian aircraft will be shot down. And this, I know I went over that part of it yesterday. I don't know, maybe I covered this whole report yesterday. I'll put the link down low there, and just in case it didn't, but I thought I covered that one. Alright, RT reporting, U.S. has always been main sponsor of Islamic State, former CIA contractor to RT. The U.S. claimed that the Russian troops will go home in body bags if Moscow doesn't end its Aleppo offensive is absurd, former CIA contractor Stephen Kelly told RT. He said Russia is the only answer to defeating ISIS. Other experts also weigh in on the subject. When asked about the State Department spokesperson John Kirby's warning that Russia will continue to send troops home in body bags if it doesn't put an end to the offensive, Kelly said Washington is pretending to be fighting Islamic State when it isn't doing so at all. The U.S. has always been the main sponsor and creator of Daesh, so this charade that they are having against or having anything to do with fighting Daesh in Syria is completely a farce. And I think the rest of the world is smart enough to realize that everything that comes out of the mouth of John Kirby or any of the State Department personnel is complete and utter balderdash, Kelly said. He advised Russian President Vladimir Putin to focus on getting the job done, as Russia is the only way IS will be defeated in Syria. I'll leave the link for this, but this is what we've been saying, or I have been saying, from the very beginning of all this. This is a proxy war. It's always been at some level of a proxy war, but now it's pretty much as close to a direct World War III as it's going to get before it becomes World War III. So keep a close eye on this. Also, Vice News reporting, Assad is assembling 10,000 troops for its final assault on Aleppo. An army of 10,000 troops is amassing outside the besieged city of Aleppo as the government prepares for an unprecedented assault on rebel-held areas of the city after a week of airstrikes and artillery fire has left the city burning and hundreds dead. According to senior government sources speaking to CNN, the U.S. is now considering how to react to the latest move by Syrian President Bashar al-Assad against opposition forces in eastern Aleppo. The troops, which have been gathering for the last week and are believed to include as many as 3,000 soldiers from Iran, are reportedly preparing for a final ground assault. Al-Assad looks to crush rebel positions in eastern Aleppo and retake the strategically important city. More than 270,000 civilians are trapped in the eastern part of the city, according to World Health Organization, cut off from aid and with dwindling supplies of food, water, and fuel. In recent days, the Syrian government has targeted hospitals and bakeries as it seeks to cut off all vital services. I would take that report with a grain of salt. Okay? I really would. I really would. Gotta watch this propaganda in the news. Gotta watch it. And I had an article, I think I still got it up, which goes into a little bit of that, of what they're doing. I thought I had it up. I don't know, maybe it's actually included in this stuff. Sorry about that. That link, as you know, will be down in the description. Alright, Counterpunch. Reporting CNN and PSYOPs. Okay, this is the article I was talking about. Sorry about that. Military personnel from the 4th Psychological Operations Group based at Fort Bragg in North Carolina have until recently been working in CNN's headquarters in Atlanta. Yes, exactly. And it's happening in all of them, folks. Don't believe Fox News. Don't believe MSNBC, CNN. Every single one of them is nothing but a game of propaganda, not only for abroad, but even here. CNN is up in arms about our report in the last issue of Counterpunch concerning the findings of the Dutch journalist Abe de Vries about the presence of U.S. Army personnel at CNN owned by Time Warner. We cited an article that by de Vries, which appeared on February 21st in the reputable Dutch daily newspaper Trouw, originally translated to English and placed on the web by Emperor's Clothes. De Vries reported that a handful of military personnel from the 3rd Psychological Operations Battalion, part of the Air Mobile Force Psychological Operations Group based at Fort Bragg in North Carolina, had worked in CNN's headquarters in Atlanta. De Vries quoted the Major Thomas Collins of the U.S. Army Information Service as having confirmed the presence of these Army PSYOPs experts at CNN, saying, PSYOPs personnel, soldiers, and officers have been working in CNN's headquarters in Atlanta through our program, Training with Industry. They worked as regular employees of CNN. Conceivably, they would have worked on stories during the Kosovo War. They helped in the production of news. And it's still going on, folks. That's why there was an act that was actually repealed that will allow them, I can't remember the name of it offhand, but it allows them to use the media to spread propaganda. They can get away with doing that now, and they are doing it. They've been doing it for a long time. Now they are legally doing it. Alright, Russia Insider reporting. Russian-Syrian push on the Aleppo is in full swing. U.S. deciding whether to ramp up support for terrorist child beheaders or start World War III. Syrian army had a Palestine pro-government militia have captured the Palestinian Handarat refugee camp in northern outskirts of eastern Aleppo 2 days ago. Moreover, it looks very much like this time they will be able to hold on to it. For anyone following the Battle of Aleppo closely, this is a very significant, as the previously inconclusive fighting for the Handarat had been a focal point of battle for over 6 months now. Eastern Aleppo remains a heavily defended fortress, but real, if slow, progress is being made. One group of people who appears none too happy with that are U.S. officials. Officials said the speed of the Russian and Syrian offensive against Aleppo has put pressure on the White House to accelerate its deliberations and force policymakers to look at options they previously were reluctant to seriously consider. Apparently even this, actually rather slow pace of advance, has Washington in panic mode. So, nothing new, something we already knew about. However, it's continuing. Oh, by the way, this is probably a propaganda that our government warned us about would be coming out from Russian news agencies. So, it's nothing but a big game in the media. Nothing but a big game. But if you look at everything yourself, look at it objectively, use your own mind, don't let others tell you, even myself, what to think. You will see it. It's right there. I mean, it couldn't be any more clear of what's going on. Alright, and the last one that I have for you this morning. Wow, This is from stalkerzone.org. Russia prepares to send Su-25 to Syria after cessation of hostility collapses. Russia increased the number of jets at the airbase by transferring additional frontline Su-24 and Su-34 bombers, attack planes, and Su-25 Rook were also prepared for flight to Syria. However, the order on their dispatch hasn't yet been given. The expansion of the Russian aviation group comes after threats from the U.S. to activate the so-called Plan B in Syria, which involved an intensification of airstrikes, additional transfer of forces of special troops, and an increase in the delivery of arms to the moderate opposition. The Plan B was developed by American power structures in the event that of a failure of efforts by the State Departments to come to an agreement with Russia. So I'll leave you all these links down in the description. Keep a close eye on this stuff, folks. It's some of the most important stuff we can pay attention to.